Alright, quick little video of this Mercedes SL injector, SEL injector, the old 75 model, somewhere around there. Just disassembled this one and checked it out. Got the press fit hose on the top. Had to rip the little metal crimp thing off. There was a little screen right in the top of the barb for the injector. Hose clamp up there. Then there's a little hold down, the gas or bumper for the hold down for the injector, clip ring, and then O-ring, and another little bottom piece. This might be just for shipping. I don't think this is actually for installation. But I just wanted to disassemble it, check them out, applied voltage to the leads, and it does open it up. And I got a good spray pattern. So I'm gonna start on the rest of these and see if I can get a video of testing the injector as well. Okay, I'm gonna try and test this injector. I got a power probe just to act as a switch to apply voltage. I've got the power probe leads coming to these two right here. I'll just plug these in, give it a quick, and I'll give the power probe a quick tap just to see if I can feel the injector open. I don't know if you can hear that as opposed to the click from the injector as opposed to the click from the button, but it is clicking. The injector is clicking. I can also feel the movement in the injector. So what we're gonna do next, I just got a carb cleaner with the hose on it. I put some Gorilla Tape, wrapped it around there, kind of wrapping it up. Then I twisted this vacuum line up on the Gorilla Tape, and it fits in this hose, this top barb hose, pretty nicely. Get a decent fit in there. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press the carb cleaner, give it some pressure, and then also open the injector by pressing the power probe and see if we can get some spray out of there. Didn't open the injector fast enough. Let's try this again. Might have to just leave the injector open before I press the carb cleaner button down. Get all these back on the leads. I don't think it matters which one is positive and negative. I guess we'll find out. So I'm actually going to open it, and we gotta, while I looks pretty good for some injectors from 75. So I'm gonna call this one good. Oops, that came out. And I've heard you're also supposed to see if you can squirt the carb cleaner or brake cleaner back in through the other way just to get any debris that might be trapped in there out. So I might try and go ahead and do that if I can find another piece of hose to fit on the bottom. But other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and go through all these injectors, see if they open and spray, how the spray pattern looks, and go from there. All right, we got the lower intake manifold. I'm gonna try and remove the original NA injectors and fuel rail and put these injectors from the Mercedes, old late 70s Mercedes SL, SEL, and try and put these in. These are around 480, 485, 490 cc's a minute. I think I will need all the injector plug pigtails because the plug is a little different. I don't remember seeing anything on the forums or anything about swapping those out, but I'll just go ahead and get a set of 6 because the ones I have in the car are all brutal and cracking. So let's see if we can get this torn apart and see what all gaskets and fuel line we need to put it back together. Alright, got the two sides of the rails off. Just wanted to compare the injectors and see what they look like. Like I said, I think I'm going to have to get the different injector connector. But as far as the O-rings go, on the Mercedes they had these green ones sealing right here. And then here we've got a little O-ring or rubber stopper down here at the bottom. But it looks like these distances are all exactly the same, so I don't think we'll have any problem just getting some new little O-rings and putting them on the bottom of these Mercedes injectors along with the new connectors. So let me see if I can go ahead and separate these. I did take a couple measurements, just the height of the injector to the fuel rail, that distance, just to make sure I don't put the fuel rail too high or too low. Also, you can just, well, I'm not going to have this fuel pressure regulator on here. I'm not going to use this fuel pressure regulator, but on the back of this, under here, there are some barbs that should line up exactly with the fuel rail once you put it in. So, okay, on the Mercedes injectors, I had to get a Dremel to cut the metal piece on the bottom off on some of them to get the pressed hose on. I'm not too worried about these injectors, so I'm not worried about damaging them, but I would like to try and keep the fuel rail intact as much as possible. So it looks like I can just cut this off. Alright, got some small little wire cutters. I think I was able to, kind of tedious, but you gotta peel all this back.
Okay, get the light off, maybe it's causing too much glare. So these little metal retainers are a little thinner than some of the Mercedes injectors. Some of those Mercedes injectors have been replaced with newer ones, and their crimping methods were a little different on each of them. But it looks like we might be able to get this off just with the wire cutters, maybe a razor blade. Try not to slice open my finger. Might just pop right off. There we go. One down. That'll go. So I'll go ahead and get the rest of these done. See if we can find some replacement O-rings and drill in.
Got the rails removed, got the injectors ready. I got 6 picked out. Some of them are newer with a part number on them. I think some of these are original. I just tried to pick the best ones out. I'm going to remove these old injector O-ring seals and clean it up just a little bit, and then we'll start putting everything back together. Alright, so I think I'm going to get all the injectors set up first. I'll go ahead and remove these snap rings on the bottom.
Pretty tight on there.
Alright, so the injector is pretty much exactly the same as far as height and mounting points. Got a little glare going on there. So I'm just gonna, I am gonna reuse these because the Mercedes injectors did come with a clamp, but it is just a little different. So this Mercedes style clamp may actually give you a little bit more compression on the injector into the intake manifold, but I'm just gonna hopefully keep it easy and go with what was on here. Got new injector seals. Came with the little bushing up top and the seal, O-ring seal at the bottom. Put that over there. We'll get this first one started.
Hold down clamp on. We can get this clamp on. Alright, first injector set up. Put the O-ring on down there too. And that will go in there.
With the screw and the spacer. So I guess that's good. I did reuse these hold downs because it does have a spacer. Let's get over here. The hold down screw has a little spacer on the bottom. Then the hold down for the injector, and then the screw. So I am going to actually get that right about there. And go ahead and put the rest of them in. I'm gonna get all the injectors in first and then start cutting the fuel line for the rails, just so I have a better vantage point of how these need to be arranged. Okay, I got all these Mercedes injectors in, just the same way that the old ones were in. Now I'm just gonna set up the fuel rails, kind of eyeball them and see where they sit, and then get an idea of how long the fuel lines need to be. Also on the top here, some of these little screens came out of the top of the injectors. Some of them are brass and they don't come out. Some of these were plastic and they did come out. So just gotta make sure I put those back in there and don't let them fall out before I put the fuel lines on. All right, got this kind of mocked up. I put these old hoses back up here on the fuel pressure regulator just to give an idea of the location. And I think I'm just gonna go ahead and start cutting maybe at least 1 or 2 of the fuel lines, right about 4 centimeters, I think. That's what I was measuring before I took the old ones off. The distance between the top of the injector right at the bottom of the barb and the bottom of the fuel rail, and it was just shy of 4 centimeters. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and just cut, I'll cut 3 pieces of hose. They're right about 4 centimeters and see how that looks. So I got the fuel rail onto the fuel lines and the fuel lines onto the injectors. I just used some pliers to twist the fuel line on the injectors. I actually used a little bit of soapy water just to help the rail slide down into those hoses. I thought I cut these hoses maybe just a little, or these lines just a little bit long, but it looks like I'm just a little bit low from where it was, just by a couple millimeters. But I think I'm gonna call that good and go ahead and cut 3 more lengths of that same length of line. It was right about 4 centimeters between the bottom of the Mercedes injector and the top of the fuel rail right there. So I'm gonna cut 3 more and tighten these clamps down and put the hoses on the other side. Okay, I got a little soapy water here, just barely dipped the hose in there. It makes it a a lot easier to push on. That's just about down at the base. There we go.
This one over here. So I'm actually not going to be able to put the fuel rail all the way on because I only have 2 more fuel line clamps. So I'm going to go grab a couple more of those. But other than that, I think we should be pretty close.
Okay, I got the passenger side injectors all on. I was able to go to, I think it was Advance, and get some fuel line clamps. Actually kind of hard to track down, but I think I got enough to finish the fuel rails. I am going to measure and cut a hose for here and for this junction right here on the supply line. All right, I got this back hose on. I think that was about 6 centimeters, somewhere around there. And this one as well, connecting this little extension to the supply line. That was about 6 or 7 centimeters as well. I did have to turn these clamps around because they scratched the new paint on the valve covers. But that's all the injectors, all the old Mercedes injectors in. I did place the lower intake manifold on the motor here, but I have a slight rocking on the between the lower intake manifold and the heads. So I don't think that's gonna make a good seal. I'm gonna pull this back off and see if I can figure out what's causing that.